Okay, I guess we can go live now. So I decided to go hardcore on my lawn, and I got sick and tired of the bent grass and the differentiation colors, and I want to start working on POA. You know, I talk about a lot of the, oh, I see one of my cameras went out already in the back. That's great. That camera keeps disconnecting for some reason. I'm not really sure why, so I'm just going to move away from that. So I don't know what made me decide to do this. I think just seeing all the bent grass in my grass, I just started thinking about some options. You know, talking about lawn care, okay? I like to do lawn care live. I like to talk about all different kinds of things, but the biggest thing I like to talk about is I like to talk about just things that you hear that you really can't go by. I mean, I try to do a lot of research when I see videos and things like that. You know, I like lawn care. I like having a nice yard. I don't have a putting green, and I don't have a, you know, short grass because, you know, I think I'm some sort of great grass grower and all this kind of stuff. You know, I've talked about this. You know, I do it because I just like to have a nice yard. I've always wanted a putting green. You know, and I've worked really hard to get my putting green looking really good, and I'm not touching it. I'm leaving my putting green the way it was. You know, I was showing it right there. That's my putting green. I am now cutting it at 1.75 millimeters, and that is 0.08. And if you guys have ever, hold on, let me fix something here. If you guys have ever been to a golf course, you know, most golf courses are, I got the wrong view going here. There we go. We'll just throw that up there. I'm assuming that the volume's working. I'm sure it is, but you never know. Yeah, it's working. So, most golf courses are 0.1. That's their putting green height. And you know, I have a McLean. McLean is not a very good greenskeeper. And I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about just a bunch of stuff today. I know I didn't do a video last week, and I'm really working on this app that I'm doing. And I'm really working on this app now because I have never used an app before. I've never wanted to use an app. I don't want to pay for an app. I don't think I should pay for an app, and I don't think you should pay for an app, but I think you should be able to have a place to go to get help for free. So I know I'm kind of all over the place because I just have so many things running through my mind. You know, I watched some videos this week. I watched one on nitrogen. I watched one on potassium, and just all these, you know, YouTube lawn care has just become a big freaking mess of stupidness. And it's like one guy hears something from another guy, and they just start repeating each other, and they start talking about all these things and telling you to do things, that you have to do things, to do this, to do that, to do whatever. And it's so stupid because, you know, you don't. And, you know, a lot of people, I mean, I kind of comment and I don't comment on some videos. You know, I try to, you know, throw a little bit of just helpfulness out there. You know, like, you can't be telling people to put a 13 down, because you're just telling people to over apply something, and it may be a restricted thing in their area. You know, it's damage to the environment, and that's not what I really care about. I care about responsible lawn care practice, because I don't want to be told not to be able to take care of my yard. So I just get really frustrated watching videos now. I mean, I have so many different lawn care videos that pop up on my feed because I search and I look at them and I watch them, and this whole nonsense about, oh, don't cut your grass short, in the summertime. You can do anything you want to your grass. It all comes down to how much you want to have to do to maintain it to look good. If you want to cut your grass short like I do, it just takes some extra water. I don't even use a lot of water. I've talked about that before. I syringe my yard when it's hot. We've had some 80 and 90 degree temperatures out here, and I syringe my yard. I give it a little bit of water multiple times a day. And when I run my sprinklers for 5 minutes, it ends up being roughly about 30 gallons, I think it is, of water per cycle. To me, that's not a lot. I don't know what that is to you. If you have water restrictions, all that kind of stuff. But for me, and what I've learned is the best way to take care of your yard when you've got heat and heat stress is you need to syringe your lawn. Multiple waterings a day. Like, look, my sprinkler just went on over here right now. And I've just had this on this timer over here. And look, this is my little side patch. I'm not even mowing it right now. And the sprinkler isn't even really, it's not even hot today. But it's just set on a timer to go off every day. And it does. And I'm not mowing it. But I have been doing plugs. So I don't know. It looks really dark. There we go. So I don't know if you see all those holes right there. I just got a plug cutter tool, and I've been going around. I've been putting plugs in the neighbors' yards. They have the same kind of grass as me, and I kind of like this shot right here. I don't know if I can get it back, but anyways, that sprinkler goes off for 10 minutes every 4 hours. I just set it on that, and I forgot to turn it off, and it goes that way. And it seems like half the days of the week around here, we have hot days, and the other half we have cold days. Like right now, I don't know, it's maybe 70 something degrees. I don't even know right now. Not even really paying. It's cloudy. It kind of rained a little yesterday. It's just rained a little earlier. Earlier this week, it was like 85 for like 3 days. So it's just up and down and up and down. And you just can't keep up with it, temperature wise. So, I have my sprinklers on, then I have them off. Like I haven't had my sprinklers on for 2 days now on my yard because it was so hot and I was syringing it. But I also like to dry it out on the weekends. Because that's when I mow, and I really concentrate on mowing. I'm going to get out there and mow again today, but I mowed my putting green at 1.75 millimeters every day last week except for Thursday. Thursday, I worked an extremely long day at work, and when I got home, I was just like, you know what, I'm just not even going to deal with it. So that was the only day this week I didn't mow it, but it's looking really, really good. I'll get the camera on it here in just a little bit. But I want to talk about what I've been doing in my yard. Let's see, is that not? Well, I thought I had the drone linked, but oh, it is. It's right there. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. So that's my drone on my putting green right now, and I know it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to see how short it is and all that kind of stuff, but it's pretty short. So the drastic changes I'm doing to my lawn. So I want to do a season, and I really want to set myself up for next season. So I'm already done with this season, and I'm moving on to next season. And I'm ready for attacking some new challenges and some new ideas of ways of doing some things. So basically the rest of the season, my lawn is going to probably look like crap. And that's because I'm spraying it with Tenacity. I'm going to be on a 3-week program of Tenacity, meaning every 3 weeks I'm going to apply Tenacity. I'm going to apply it at a lesser rate next time. I applied it at normal rate this last Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday I applied it. Yeah, I applied it on Tuesday. And what I'm trying to accomplish is two things. I'm trying to accomplish bent grass elimination in my yard. My yard is just so full of bent grass that I just can't stand it anymore. So I sprayed it, and it took a couple days, and it wasn't until I came home from work on Friday that I started noticing what it was doing. And it's definitely starting to work. And I have a lot more bent grass in my yard than I thought. And it's a lot around my putting green because, I don't catch my grass. And, that's my thing. I mean, I could catch my grass and I can get rid of it. It's not really that big a deal, but I just don't do it. And because of that, I get all this bent grass everywhere. So the second reason why I've already started Tenacity is because I'm going to go on a hardcore pre-emergent program for the next 2 years, all fighting POA. I'm going to do it mainly on my yard. I'm going to take care of the 3 other yards that I don't take care of them, but I help out my neighbors on a couple of yards. And then I have a yard up on the hill, the parks, that I did the renovation on. And I'm going to start doing pre-emergent. Now, I'm not spraying any Tenacity on Wilson's or the parks yard because it's perennial ryegrass, and perennial ryegrass just gets bleached really hard when you use Tenacity on it. So I don't recommend using Tenacity on perennial ryegrass. You're going to get some pretty good bleaching. But on Kentucky bluegrass, it doesn't really affect it so much. I might have got a little bit of effect on it. This spray I did, I'm not really sure. To me, it really seems like it's bent grass. I'm going to put the drone up and I'm going to kind of give you an overview of what it looks like. But let's see, I don't think you can see it from this camera right here. You might be able to see, yeah, you can see a little bit along the edge of the putting green there. All those brown spots is bent grass starting to die. Now, to kill the bent grass, I have to stay on top of applications. I got to continually apply every 3 weeks. I need to keep applying, because one application is not going to do it. I've learned that already. But on top of that, I'm already starting to prevent, with pre-emergent properties, POA. It's July, but POA in our area grows all year round. I've already got some starting to grow in the backyard, and I'm actually trying to stay on top of it and pull it. I just did a whole cleanup of my yard and pulled all the POA out. And I have a few here and there that are starting to pop back up because, we get those hot temperatures and then we get cool temperatures. And, our soil temp right now is 75 degrees. And I keep a thermometer in my yard there just to monitor it. I just like paying attention to what is the soil temperature, because POA starts germinating at around 70. I think it's in the 60s. And with our cooler temperatures, when they come on, the temperatures cool down. But you know what? It's not like that temperature is a trigger. When it hits 65 degrees, those things start germinating. Seeds can germinate above. People talk about, oh, don't do a renovation in the spring because it's going to get too hot and your seeds aren't going to deal with it and they're not going to handle it. You're going to get a bad yard. Whether that's true or not, I don't even really care. I seed all the time. And a lot of it really comes down to moisture. You got to keep the seed wet. You got to keep it moist for it to germinate properly. Brad's yard, it was going through germination during a heat wave, and it came in pretty well. Although I'm not there monitoring it every day, if it were my yard, I would have made sure of a few things. I don't think he stayed on top of it like I asked him to. because he did have some bad germination in a few areas, but it's starting to fill in and it's recovering pretty well. It actually looks pretty good. It's only 2 months old right now. It's still got some bare spots, but not really that bad. And a lot of that has to do with the sprinklers, because the sprinklers are pushing things around. But you know, POA is going to germinate somewhere below 70 degrees, 72, 68. It's not a given when that temperature hits 65, boom, a switch turns and things start germinating. Things just start germinating when they start germinating. It may be a shady area that gets a little cooler, and not a lot of sun. Whatever the case may be, maybe your grass is taller and, it keeps the soil cooler. Because I syringe my yard, my soil's cooler. So, all those things, come into play with POA germination. So I'm going to stay consistent on my tenacity applications pretty much through October. I'm going to do a prodiamine application starting in September. And I'm going to do prodiamine, sulfentrazone, and then probably prodiamine again, and then dithiopyr in spring, late spring. Dithiopyr because of its crabgrass properties, ability to, get rid of post-emergent crabgrass. And these are just, thoughts that you have to put into how you want to apply and how you want to deal with it. Now, if you want to be an overseed guy and overseed your freaking yard every 6 months or whatever every year, and listen to these guys telling you, oh, you got to overseed, oh, you got to aerate, oh, you got to do this, oh, you got to do that. If you're going to follow these lawn guys, just follow them, watch their channel, follow them. But you're doing a lot of things in your yard that you just don't need to do. Okay, I'm going to talk about heat stress now, because the POA program, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. There's a lot of bent grass dying right now in my yard. There's a lot. In fact, let me move this camera a little bit. Maybe you might be able to see a little bit of it. Let me see if I get this to stick in the ground. I think that's the right camera. Yeah, so yeah, you can see all in there. So you see all the brown spots, all POA patches. I mean, not POA, bent grass. It's all bent grass. Tenacity is not going to kill POA. Tenacity is going to help you with pre-emergent. So because it's July, I'm just going to continue pulling, and basically with this new plugger I got one of those sod pluggers. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. That's the Pro plugger. Because I want to also do plugs for my Bermuda grass. Because man, I like the Bermuda grass. Yeah, so this Pro plugger is really, really nice. I really like it. You've probably seen a bunch of people using this, but I have it on the shallowest setting right here. And you can do plugs and you can fill this whole thing up with plugs and then just dump them out. It's so crazy easy. I have this really crappy square one that I've been using for 2 years. And in a morning, about 2 hours, I think I was putting like 36 plugs in the wheelbarrow at a time. I probably did 5 wheelbarrow loads of plugs in Doug's yard and Kathy's yard, repairing some bad spots. And Doug's got a little aggressive on POA in his yard, and he killed it off. But he also took out his Kentucky bluegrass with it. And so since he's doing the same thing I am, I can do plugs. Kathy, same thing. She's got the same grass I do. So I can put plugs in her yard and fill it in. So with all that, I love this Pro plugger. So I'm going to start using this on POA. As soon as I see POA, I'm just going to pull it. I'm going to Pro plug it, and I'm just going to deal with it that way. I have a ton of plugs on my side yard over here from pulling all these plugs. All right, so here's one right here. I don't know how, if I get too close to that camera, if you can see it. Try to. So this is a bent grass plug right here. That's why it looks all green. So yeah, this is a bent grass plug I pulled out of my yard probably. So I have a whole pile of these over my side yard where I want to plant bent grass. And I don't even know how many, there's probably over 200 plugs over there, because I just went to town on my yard and everybody else's yard, and this thing works really, really good. So for a $45 investment, this was probably one of the best investments I've made. And when I see POA start popping up, I'm just pulling it. I'm pulling it by hand, and I'm pulling it with this thing and replacing it because I'm trying to fill bare spots in. So let's see. Where is that? Right here. Yeah. So that's my Kentucky bluegrass first application of tenacity. Now this always happens when I apply tenacity on the bent grass. It always happens. It always turns brown and it starts looking like it's going to die off, and you think you're doing great. So the next thing that I'm going to do in being aggressive with the bent grass, I'm going to push nitrogen super duper hard. I'm going to push the Kentucky bluegrass to grow. I mean, grow. I'm already, pumping about a 1/4 pound of nitrogen, and I haven't been doing it every 2 weeks. So I'm still probably on the low side of an annual application. So I'm not going to go overboard because, the recommended is, 3 to 4 pounds a year. So I try to stay within those limits, so I'm going to push nitrogen a little harder for the next 2 months. Every 2 weeks, I'm probably going to do about 1/3 of a pound. I haven't really decided yet. I figured 1/3 of a pound over 6 weeks, that's a pound. And I'll still have some, roughly application amount left to do a couple more by through the end of the year. So I'm going to do that for basically 2 months. I'm going to push the tenacity. I'm going to push the nitrogen. I'm going to try to push this bent grass out. But on top of that, I'm going to be controlling POA. I'm going to do the prodiamine in September, and I'm just going to kind of do that and see how things go. If my grass dies, my grass dies. Whatever. I don't freaking care. But I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One, because I really am tired of dealing with POA. And POA is just a way of life out here. I've told you the golf courses out here, they just embrace it. Every golf course out here is pretty much POA. None of them are running any kind of, great grass. There might be a great country club somewhere that's really expensive that's doing it. I think one of the golf course superintendent told me some golf course is using POA Cure and trying to control it on some of I think they're doing it on their tees. Or maybe their greens. I can't remember which they were really trying to control it on. But anyways, POA is my big thing that I'm going to go into. I've been messing with taking care of it, but that's just what I'm going to do aggressive wise. Okay. Let's change gears a little bit here for this whole heat stress BS that all these lawn channels are doing, and a lot of these guys are just, regular dumbasses like me, and they're just spewing, hey, the one guy who's got a lot of viewers, Ginja or the Yard Mastery guy or the Ron Henry guy or, whoever, he always talks about, if you got, prevent heat stress, you got to add potassium. Potassium's going to help prevent heat stress and all this kind of stuff. And I watched this video of this guy, and he's like, putting down a 10-0-20 on his yard, and he's putting it down at the bag suggested rate, which ended up being, I know this is going to be wrong because I can't remember, but he put like 37 pounds of this product on his, I'm going to say 4,000 square feet. I really don't remember. I don't even remember what the bag application rate was, But the problem is that this is the other part of it. You know, these manufacturers of these fertilizers, they're not really, they're deceiving you. You know, they don't put out all the information that's really important with potassium. Okay, does potassium prevent heat stress? Basically, no. What potassium does do is it helps the grass produce the, I'm just going to say things, whether it's, you know, amino acids, bacteria, whatever it is that you want to call it. I've heard the term before of what it actually is producing. It's not an amino acid. It's you know, it's grass. It's part of what it does to have to fight this stuff off. You know, grass is just a freaking machine, man. It just, the way it processes nutrients and, you know, grows and does all that kind of stuff, and how it protects itself and all this kind of stuff is really amazing. But the bottom line is if you already have potassium, adding more does absolutely nothing but load your lawn up with potassium. It doesn't matter whether you have 20 parts per million of potassium available, or you have 300 parts per million of potassium available. It doesn't matter. As long as it's there, and even if it's deficient, even if it's low on potassium, it's still going to do its job and it's going to perform, okay? Because when it's low on potassium and it can't perform and it can't do what it needs to do, it's going to start showing those signs. And it's really until you see the signs that you have a potassium deficiency that you need to actually add potassium. Same thing goes for phosphorus. Everybody tells you, oh, you got to add phosphorus for roots. Yeah, I got to add phosphorus for roots. Roots. Yeah. No. Just by dumping more phosphorus into your soil, it's not adding more roots. The phosphorus that's in your soil is adding roots, okay? And as long as there's phosphorus, it's doing what it needs to do. Adding more does zero, absolutely zero, okay? If it's there, it's doing its job. Whether it's 20 parts per million, 50 parts per million, 300 parts per million, 500 parts per million, whatever. If the phosphorus is there, if the potassium is there, okay, it's going to do its job. The grass and the microbes are going to work together because that's what they do in, you know, creating these enzymes. That was the word I was looking for. Enzymes is the key word. Basically enzymes, and there's different types of microbes that do different kinds of things, that have different kinds of names, that produce different kinds of enzymes, that do different sort of stuff to the, you know, we don't care. I don't care. I'm tired of people learning from, you know, the golf course maintenance guy. I've got 40 years experience of golf course superintendent and I know everything about grass. Well, you know what? I don't freaking care, because I'm not, you know, I'm not taking care of a golf course. Okay, I'm a homeowner and my needs are 1,000% different than what a golf course needs are. And just because he knows how to take care of a golf course doesn't mean that's what you need to do in your yard. And those are the things that drive me freaking nuts. These guys that have, you know, these, you know, they're ex-superintendents, or they're still superintendents of golf courses, or they take care of, you know, big fields, you know, sports fields and whatever. You know, learning to grow grass from them is probably the stupidest thing that I think most people can do. Because yeah, they're going to tell you to aerate, okay? They're going to tell you to put all these different nutrients in, okay? Because one thing, they're going to be on the side of, hey, well, we have to aerate because we get lots of compaction, because we get lots of people stomping on our turf. We drive heavy equipment on our turf because we use big, huge mowers. We don't do that on our grass, okay? That's why unless you absolutely have some super serious compaction problem. You can take care of compaction by just a really good composting program, getting more organic material, just putting your grass clippings back into your lawn. Those sorts of things are going to help you with compaction, because compaction is dealt with by organic material, worms, microbes, all those sorts of things. If you have a very active yard, just like if you have mushrooms growing in your yard, you have all that great organic compost. So great thing, okay? Because that's what you need to help with that soil compaction, because you need a certain level, a certain amount of compaction in your yard for proper water wicking down into your yard. So potassium, man, just because you think you have heat stress or you got heat stress maybe coming, don't add it. It's not going to prevent it, and it's not going to stop it, okay? If you're low on it, your grass is going to let you know, and you're going to see it. Most homeowners are never going to see a potassium deficiency ever in their life, okay? Unless you have a very low CEC, unless you have a very sandy soil, okay? Because what do they call it? The ions, they can't attach to the soil like it can if you got clay and stuff like that, And people that are in like Florida and the South and some areas over there where if you have a really low CEC, this is probably one of the only reasons I like soil tests, is because I want to know my CEC. And once I know, I don't care. I'm not going to do anything about it, but knowing is just, okay, well, I'm going to understand a little bit more about how my soil is going to retain nutrients, okay? If I have a low CEC, I know that my soil is not going to be able to hold on to nutrients. Like if I have a high CEC, like 16, 20, whatever, those CEC numbers are going to hold nutrients much more. And if you're composting and putting organic material back into your yard anyways, even with a low CEC, you're probably not going to see a problem with phosphorus. So, and I'm sorry, potassium, phosphorus is the same thing. Those two nutrients, you really don't need to add them like people are telling you need to add them. And it drives me nuts when I hear people talking about doing that kind of stuff and adding them at levels. Getting back to manufacturers. Manufacturers are just going to lead you to believe that you got to put down potassium because of heat, heat stress. Phosphorus, same thing. Oh, you need roots. Oh, okay. It's a big bunch of garbage. You know what? I've never put either one down in my yard. I put organic material in my yard, and I put my lawn clippings back into my yard. I only add nitrogen, and I don't have a weed problem. They talk about this whole low mow thing and weeds, and if you mow low, you're going to have weeds and all this kind of stuff. No, if you add a bunch of phosphorus, you're going to have weeds. You're going to have lots of POA. Out here, POA is just a way of life. We just can't get rid of it. I'm going to go on this program. I'm going to see what I can do about it. But I'm bound and determined to hopefully prove my theory on the POA. Next is nitrogen. Nitrogen is probably one of the most important things you can add to your yard. But understanding it is also important, knowing how much to put on your yard. I think your local extension office is probably the best place to go to start understanding how you can maintain your yard. It's going to tell you how much nitrogen you should be putting down a year, what the soils are like out here, what the pHs are like down here. It's just going to give you knowledge to a lot of these things. And then also on top of that, you're probably going to learn from your extension office that, you're not supposed to be adding phosphorus to your lawn because of restrictions. All states have different restrictions. So I'm not going to get on that, topic, but, the extension, for us, it's Washington State University Extension. They kind of lay out, how to maintain, turf grass in Washington State. Your state, wherever you are, is going to be the same way. It's going to have some sort of extension office that's going to be able to help you determine the best ways to maintain your lawn nutrient-wise. And then it's also going to talk about weeds and controlling weeds and what time of year to, you know, work on weeds and do all these kind of things. It's probably the best place to get information. Lawn care YouTube guys, even though they have 200,000, 300,000 subscribers, 100,000, million, I don't care what it is. That whole industry, that whole area is just flooded with good information, but more bad than good. Yes, you can learn some good things from, you know, some YouTube guys. You know, some of these guys really know what they're talking about, but you know what reality is? You really don't need to know that garbage. You know, I don't freaking care what enzyme it is that my grass needs to produce to help prevent heat stress. I don't freaking care. You know, I don't care about amino acids. You know what? Because you don't need to add them. You know, your microbes. Take care of your microbes. Take care of your soil. Mow your lawn. You know, you don't have to put your clippings back into your lawn every time you mow. If you like to suck your clippings up, you know, go ahead and do that. You know, I run my lawnmower over my lawn every, you know, month or so, 6 weeks, whatever, and I have it, you know, kind of vacuum my grass up, you know, but I think they were saying, you know, lawn clippings start decomposing within 7 days, within a week, 7 to 10 days. And that's just nutrients. That's just helping with moisture and all these kinds of things, you know. It drives me crazy. All these guys telling you, oh, wetting agents, you got to do this and you got to do that. And stop with it all. You know, some proper lawn care practices and maintenance to have a nice lawn. Very simple. Okay. I wanted to talk about AI videos because, man, they're starting to come out like crazy. These AI videos are driving me nuts. You know, if you see a video channel that's, you know, kind of new, you've never seen it before, they put out a video and within a day or two, they've got over 100,000 views in just the first day or two. And they only have like, say, 7,000 subscribers. Okay. Some of those channels actually are tagged as AI generated. You got to stay away from those channels. You got to stop listening to them. I mean, I hate to click on them because I can tell right off the bat. One was so bad. I mean, it was good. It was good as far as how they, you know, how they do the thumbnails, they do the titles and all that kind of stuff. But you could tell that the thumbnail was faked. It was totally AI because they had a before and an after of the same house, okay, with terrible grass and then great grass. And it was just the same freaking picture. All the background and everything like that was the exact same. The shadow was the same. Everything perfectly, exactly the same. There's no way, first of all, you're going to take the exact perfect angle picture and have the same exact shadowing and everything. It's impossible, okay? Because your shadows are going to be different in a week from now because of the way the sun is. You know, it moves in the sky and it goes up and down and all that kind of stuff. That was just the first thing I looked at when I looked at this thumbnail. I looked at it and I was like comparing each side and I'm like going, that's fake. It's so fake. And then they talked, I think in this one here, they talked about the whole cornmeal thing. And then they cite, you know, states, universities that did a test on applying cornmeal and their study showed, and it's totally fake. It's totally garbage. And that's what's starting to take over YouTube is all these AI lawn care videos. And then you've got everybody going to AI trying to get answers for lawn care, and it's giving you bad information. I talk to AI all the time. Oh my God, I talk to AI all the time. And the information it gives me, I'll be all like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And I do it because I wanna find out what it's gonna say, because you're gonna do it. You're gonna say, hey, you know, should I aerate my lawn this year? And it will come back and say, oh yeah, aeration is a great way to get air down into your roots and do this and do that. And then you can add fertilizer and you can add sand and you can level your soil and you can do all these great things and whatever. And You know, the research doesn't show that for a homeowner. The research actually shows that a homeowner has absolutely no reason to frickin' aerate their lawn unless they absolutely have 100% compacted soil. Just because you do the screwdriver test and you stick it down in your soil and you think it's kind of hard, that doesn't mean you have compacted soil. So anyways, I like to challenge AI all the time by asking it questions, because maybe I just read a research paper, or I just saw a video of a research guy going over some research videos. You know, yeah, I watch, Dr. Shaddix, I watch his channel. And the reason why I watch his channel is because it's not Dr. Shaddix that's saying these things. He will critique a video and go over what the guy's saying wrong in a video, but he will back it up with research saying, well, let's see what the research says. And he'll go, well, this research shows, exactly the opposite. And this is what it says, and this is everything. It's not even that he's saying don't do it because I say so. He is only saying it because this is what the research says. And he's done the research himself. And there's tons of research on all different kinds of things out there that, just totally goes against what a lot of people say these days. And you know what? That's the problem with YouTube. These creators are out about content. They're trying to get videos out. They're trying to sell you products. They're trying to make money. They're trying to do all these kinds of things. Do I care? No, I don't care. Buy their products, buy their stuff, put it on your lawn. Spend $80 to make your lawn look green. All the rest of the garbage in these fertilizer products are basically worthless. You might get some benefit from it, but you are never going to see a response to grass by putting potassium or phosphorus on it, amino acids, seaweed, humic, all these sorts of things. The only things that they're going to do is maybe something additional down in the soil to the roots. But the reality is, are you going to see a benefit from it? Probably never. You may see a sliver here and there of maybe something, but for the most part, you're going to see nothing. And I'm 4 years in, I don't add any garbage to my lawn. I mean, my lawn looks terrible right now because I've totally tenacity did. So let's just look at it real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then I'll show you the greatness of my putting green. And those are, so let's see. So yeah, this is showing. So if you see how this all is growing here, it all is spread out from a main central area, small parts, okay, big parts, okay. This camera might cut out a little bit, but we're gonna go in here. So now look over here. So this, I'm thinking, probably has some bleaching, because you know what, I really kind of put it on pretty thick over here. And so I think a lot of this in this area is bleaching. But this definitely is not bleaching right here. This is bent grass. This is the line right here between Kentucky bluegrass and bent grass. And it's kind of filtered over. But this very well could be bent grass, because when I mow, all the grass gets kicked over that way, okay? And then you can see right here, see, look, I got a little bit of tenacity on my putting green right here. And that is tenacity. So let's look at the putting green here real quick since we're over here. So it's really hard for me to see in the camera here if this is really kind of giving me a good view. But this is bent grass, cut at 1.75 millimeters. I haven't mowed it yet today, and it's looking really good. The putting green in general is looking really good. So back here was really where I started seeing the bent grass. It was out of control. And you can see, because of the bleaching, you can see how the bent grass is just getting torched right now by the tenacity. And look, it's everywhere. hardly any of this is bleaching. In fact, I'm kind of more on the side that there's no bleaching going on. It's all bent grass. Look all along here, bent grass. Even in my backyard, I have this going on. And you can see it along the edges over here. Let me get my shadow out of this. So you can see along the edges of the putting green. Putting green here. And then you got bleaching going on. You got some right here. You got a really big patch right here. Here's a big piece. Look at this. Bent grass growing in my flower bed. Okay. I normally just pull these, but it pulls out really easily. But if you see how lime green it is, it's just like POA. It looks like POA, but you don't get seeds on this. And occasionally maybe you do. Anyways, I just sprayed the weeds in here too. Look, here's some more bent grass on my flower bed. Right here. And this is just all from mowing. There's more right here. I've been trying to keep this, but you know, also look, I got Kentucky bluegrass growing in here. Kentucky bluegrass will do the same thing. So this is, my yard was looking super, super great a week ago. In fact, in my video of my mow from last week, I was going to show that. God, it looked great. Now it just looks 4 days. Started just going. Started going out. Now I sprayed over here as well. So this is my patch of, you know, my nursery grass. Sorry, the shadow's over here. So you can see along the edge here that we got bent grass dying out right in here. Okay, it looks like you might have a little bit of POA right here. I don't have much in this grass over here. I don't really have anything over here. So look, here's maybe some more, not sure. Anyways, I don't really care. This is my side patch. Here's a little bit right here, it looks like. Dying out. But so, I don't know if you see all these little plug holes right here. All these plug holes from pulling plugs out of here. Plugs out of here. And you know what, one thing I didn't find at any time when I was pulling plugs out of my yards? Worms. No worms, no grubs. Doesn't mean I don't have them, but if I have them, they're really deep right now, and that's kind of generally what happens. The worms kind of go deep in the summer, and then they'll start popping out. Oh, it's starting to rain. I don't think my backyard, I think that one died. Yeah, the backyard camera died. And look, it's starting to rain. I'm going to take this camera in the backyard real quick. Here, I'm just going to put this on this one. I'm going to walk around back real quick. Oh, did that not change? Well, is my switcher not working? Oh, it just died. Well, I guess I won't go out back. Can't show you anything out there, so no biggie. Anyways, those are a lot of the things that a few of the things I want to talk about. The biggest thing was I wanted to just kind of give you an idea of what my plans are. Oh, I think my drone is calling me. Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff I wanted to talk about. Oh, let me just turn this off.
Please Remote control not connected.
I was going to put the drone up in the air, but it is really windy and it has been kind of rainy and stuff like that. So my biggest thing that I just want to try to get people to take away from my videos, and you know, I know my lives, I just ramble on and talk about stuff. I try to keep things going in a, actually, you know, I could just change the screen right here. Let me change the screen. Let me go around back real quick. I'm just going to put it on. I'm going to show you the bent grass. What camera do I want? Yeah, it's this one. All right, so you're going to see a terrible part of my yard, and I'm not going to stay back there very long, so I'll come back up front and fix if the camera goes out. Because my camera's got to cross over from the front to the back. So if you're still with me, so tenacity was sprayed back here too, and as you can see, look, I have bent grass in my backyard. Look at it all over the place. And that's just, you know, gets carried over from my mower. Also, there's fine fescue back here, and that has a tendency to get taken out by, so here is my Bermuda. It's Tahoma 31. So it doesn't look as good as it did 2 weeks ago when I did my video, because I actually wanted to scalp it down to 5 millimeters and let it grow in at 5 millimeters. But I can't cut at 3 different heights. I just can't do it. But one of the big things I wanted to talk about, and I'm sorry if this is cutting out, is my border. Look at how well I've been able to keep this from crossing from bent Bermuda grass to Kentucky bluegrass. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, you know, Bermuda grass does not like tenacity. And here's my little test area right here where I sprayed tenacity. And I'll say I did spray a good amount, but I'm going to monitor that as well with my tenacity applications. I'm going to see what happens, because this area right here, I don't take care of the border. You see it ends right here. And so this area here just kind of creeps and grows, kind of like over here. See, there's this area here that's been growing beyond. Look at all this. Look at how crazy this is. I need to get this out of here. And I want to just plant this in some bare spots. Anyways, I'm gonna go back up front because I just don't trust how this. I'm gonna put these cameras in the house real quick though, because it is starting to rain. They're not working. Yeah, I'd done all this work to get all these cameras set up back here, and then just as I was getting ready to go live, they all just kind of disconnected, and I just didn't want to waste my time trying to reconnect them. I'll leave these wires and crap out here. So yeah, so that's my backyard. It was looking really super sweet 2 weeks ago, and then I tenacity did it, and then now I'm not sure how well you can really see. It was looking really great. There are some other things I wanted to kind of show you. Yeah, this camera can go right like this. And I'll just put this down here. Actually, let me put it over here. Oh, shit. I mean, shoot. Oh, that's crooked. So, I'm just going to go back on my computer here real quick because I just have it right out here. What I could do is I could do this. I could do this maybe and just set it up right here. So yeah, so this, I just have my monitors out here so I can monitor and make sure the feed's working and all that kind of stuff. Everything looks good. So just a lot of glare out here. Where is, saw it just a second ago. There it is. So evapotranspiration, I talk about it all the time. You know, you can look it up. This is the NOAA evapotranspiration map. I need to bring it up over here if I'm going to scroll around it, but I'm just going to leave it like it is. So you can see everywhere it goes, it's kind of color coded, but you know, I'm up here in the Northwest. We're at 1.51 for the week. So what that means is you're going to lose basically 1.5 inches of rain through the next week due to evapotranspiration. That's how much water is going to, or moisture is going to be lost out of your lawn just based on the heat and the wind and the humidity and all those sorts. Everything's taken into account here. It's different everywhere because it's based on everything, all the variables. This is a good tool to know because this kind of tells you at least how much water you should be putting down. If you run it at about 80%, so like we're at 1.5, you know, if you want about 1.5 inches of rain and water in your lawn anyways. So when you run at 1.5, that just means you need to stay on top of your watering, and you probably want to give it a little syringe in the afternoon because it's hot. This map also gives you a, oh, I can't click on that, I forgot. It gives you a daily total up here where it says total weekly FRET in inches. You can do the drop down arrow on that and you can, I could probably bring it up and scroll around on it. There it is right there. So here you go. I think you can see my cursor. So I can zoom in on areas and scroll around. And you can just kind of see what it is. And just because you're in a really hot area, well, actually it's not very hot over there, but look at here in Texas, 2.47. That's a lot of moisture you're going to lose. And if you want to do 1.5, you know, the point where 80% of evapotranspiration is, you definitely want to put at least 80% of that 2.47 evapotranspiration you're going to be doing to try to keep your yard alive for the week. Now, I'm not in Texas, so I really don't know. But this is kind of how you follow this map and you understand it. It's just about how much water and moisture is lost in your yard, basically due to the heat, the wind, humidity, because humidity is actually probably going to help keep the moisture in your yard a little bit more. I don't know. I don't live in a humid area, so I don't really understand all that stuff. So I'm just talking out my ass right now. Just like with Bermuda grass. Man, I have no clue how to grow Bermuda grass, but I got it. It's growing. And I'm trying to learn things to do with it because I hear about people talking about, you know, I got, Bermuda grass in my tall fescue and yada, yada, yada. And from what I understand, man, tenacity can kind of help you take care of the Bermuda grass. So I'm just doing tests like I do with everything, just like my pre-emergent program that I'm going on for POA. You know, we're going to see what happens. By next spring, you know, we're going to find out how this program works, what it does. And I'm not just doing it on my yard, I'm doing it on a couple of yards. Some of my neighbors don't know because I don't really tell them what I'm doing to their yard, I just do it. And they just allow me to do it. You know, Wilson, number one, I mow his lawn and I take care of his lawn. I just tell him, you know, how much to water. And he pretty much tries to follow it. So that's evapotranspiration. So the only other thing I really had on here that I kind of wanted to show was, so I've talked about my app that I'm creating. I need to open that page so I can scroll through here. So let me go over here. Where's my mouse? Sorry, everything's backwards on my computer. There we go. Yeah, so that is. So my app went from something really kind of basic, you know, just a tool that I was using for some of the yards I'm taking care of, like doing water tests and things like that, to I've actually now turned it into a full-blown tool for a beginner, a novice, an amateur, a pro, somebody who takes care of yards, somebody who's takes care of sports fields. This is an actual tool that can be used by a lot of people. If you're in lawn care and you do lawn care service, I'm developing this app. It's still in process, but there are a lot of things working on it right now. But I'm developing this app so that you can actually have a professional side where you can keep track of all of your stuff, and then a customer side where you can provide customers with information on, say, watering schedules and how we determine watering schedules, and what goes into play with the heat and all that kind of stuff. Applications of fertilizers, applications of weed control, pest control, all those sorts of things. Calendars, a photo area. It's basically a log to take care of everything, but it also has reminders in it. I have this. Sorry, it's really confusing with this being backwards. So here's my irrigation page. So this is still in process. This is my yard, and it actually was more complete than this, but every time I do an upgrade on it, it takes my yard, because I don't save. And when I don't save, when I do an update or I make changes to it, it goes back to the original where it was. So I've done some of it. So you can see here, like, I don't even think this is the current one. But this is basically a sprinkler setup. Everything's color coded for sprinklers. I'm basically dialing in and putting in where my sprinklers are, the arcs, the radiuses, how far it goes out. It's color coded by zone, so I can see each zone. And then I have these up here. I don't know if this is working. Oh, it is. All right. I can, this has actually got 3 zones. I only have 2 in here. So I can click on these up here to take out zones and just look at one zone. I can look at no zones, all that kind of stuff. I can look at the sprinklers. Where are the sprinklers, individually in a zone. You can put the actual irrigation pipes in. You can do everything. The cup test. I haven't done a cup test on my yard yet. That's the watering test. But down in here, this is what I'm talking about for like a customer. So this area right here, this is kind of one of the big things I'm really trying to make good for people, just people in general, because watering is a big thing. People talk about overwater, underwater. So this is basically a watering system that is going to help you determine how much you need to water. Like here you can see what the recommended irrigation for this week is. This is all based on ET, and it depends on how you have it set. I have my city and my state all in here, and I actually have the forecast for every day this week and the referenced evapotranspiration rate down here. And that's just kind of a guide. You can just look at this and you can kind of go, oh, geez, Tuesday and Wednesday, it looks like it's going to be a little hot. We're going to lose some moisture. Actually, 4 days in a row, it looks like, we might want to add a little extra water. Down here, I've set a trigger for a program A and a program B. Here it is right here. Here's normal. Here's above normal heat. So this is like normal weather, normal temperatures. You could set it to whatever you want. And it gives you a watering schedule based on how much water you want to put in your yard. I think I have this listed at 1.5 inches. Right here, this is above. And I've got it set at, I think, 80% of evapotranspiration. That's how this 1.18 comes in here. And there's a drop down somewhere in here to determine Yeah, here it is right here. So you got a recommended guide, you got use live ET and rainfall. So this actually is working to estimate out, and then you can also manually enter what you wanted to set for your weekly amount, and you can change everything down here, how many watering days you want and all that kind of stuff. But then the big thing it does is it evaluates your weather plan right here, and it gives you a watering schedule. Now, see, like this right here is set for a weekly target of 0.5 inches. That's a half inch. That's nothing. And it's got, you know, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday as your watering schedule. So I just updated this earlier. So this actually doesn't have everything set the way I had it set before. But let me scroll down a little bit further. So, oh, yeah, it didn't. Let me see. Let's see if it's going to do it. Yeah, it did. Okay. So this is a water test right here, and this is telling you where to put your cups. Now, this is the generic information, so I can basically go up here and I can change this. I use 40 cups. So, really, you're not going to let me change it? Oh, it is. So I can do it to 40 cups. I can tell it how many, Jesus, it's going backwards. How many minutes I'm going to run my test for. Total test time, 5 minutes. The type of sprinklers right here. I have impact sprinklers. How many zones we're going to test. So I have 3 zones in my front yard, so I'd put 3. Oops. There's a lot of other stuff here. So this is going to kind of get into where you're going to put your cups. So this says your numbering is going to start at the bottom left. I'll show you that here in a second. You can label the map. See, I have driveway here. Well, you can change that. This to side. Let's see here. Shoot. Sorry, I'm really having a problem with this backwards screen thing. So see this change right here, side yard and all this. So you can say what, you know, this is my driveway on this side here. It needs to be labeled driveway. This is a street down here. This is the side over here. This is actually where the house is up here. So if I run the create placement chart for 40, okay, you see what it did? Now it's only using the amount of cups that it could fit logically within that space. And you see it has all the distances here. This is actually a real, this is actual real measurements of my yard. Okay, I've got the boundary set for my yard here, and this is just extra. 40 by 80 is just the grid that I chose to plot my yard in, because I have extra areas, I have curved areas, you know, I have, you know, the walkway right here and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, so what's going to happen once you do this, you're going to run your water test, you're going to measure, you're going to, you know, measure out and put your cups in this area here. It tells you exactly how to measure it out and where to put them and all that kind of stuff, because then you're going to put the data in. So down here, it actually gives you the actual location of each cup right here and the measurements from the edges of your map. From there, you're going to go on to, once your test is done, you're going to put results in right here and all your results for every cup. Okay. And then it's going to calculate results. And I haven't done a test, so I can't really show you, but I'm just showing you basically what it's going to do. Down here, it's going to give you your results and tell you how many inches per hour you're putting down, all that kind of stuff. This was the basis of where this whole app started from, is right here, this cup test, because this is what I was starting to do for some people I'd done some renovations for, because I was having watering problems. And I only understand impact sprinklers. That's what I use. And I had to learn about all these different sprinklers and their coverages and their patterns and all kinds of things. And what happens if you mix different sprinklers and all this kind of, just everything. And I had a real problem at the parks because it was 6,000 square feet and trying to get the watering down right for the seeding and everything to grow in. And I just looked at the parks yard yesterday with a family member who wants to do his yard this season. And I took him up there to show him. I said, look, this is, you know, basically about 2.5 months. Well, it's been almost 3 months now. But I turned the yard over to the parks. They're taking care of it. They're mowing it. God, it looks great. It looks so good. Even the bare areas have almost completely filled in. Even some areas that were not growing in because of lack of water and very bare, they're actually starting to grow in and cover very well. I haven't done any extra seeding. I didn't do any starter fertilizer. I didn't do any of these extra things that all these guys tell you got to do on a lawn renovation. I did the basic steps, the basic processes with the basic materials. That's going to lead me to the other part of this, which is really, really going to be helpful for people. You know, there might be only 2 things that you want to use in this app, but you know what? This app is going to help you with a bunch of stuff. Materials calculator. This materials calculator right here is, I mean, I have it set up right now to where it's almost perfect. I don't think I have anything done in here. I was actually starting to do this for my neighbor friend, but basically you can bring in all of your data from the projects the areas you've created. You can name each area, your front yard, your backyard, your side yard. You can have all these different areas. You can have them all measured out, all the square footage for each one. You can do all of them individually. You can do them all together. You can choose which one you want. You know, I only have my front yard in here, so that's all I can choose right now. But if I had my backyard in here, I could select backyard. You know, I could have it do it all. I could do it manually. I could just say, hey, this is how many square feet I want to do it by. Okay. You can do total area. You can do manual. So you see, I have all these things in here. Okay. And then here's the great thing. Although this doesn't have everything I want in it, you can choose what product you're putting down. So we're topsoil. I have 1,443 square feet. I want to do, let's just change this to 2 inches because it's going to be different. So when I change it to 2 inches, I don't want to have any waste measured in, but you can measure in how much waste. We're going to do it to the nearest half cubic yard roundup. So if we're going to do it with bags, because we're doing a small area, we can do it by bags here. Topsoil comes in 1 cubic foot bags. It's 1 cubic foot. Price per bag is $3.50. The bulk price for a yard here is like $37.95, I believe, the last time I bought it. And then you can calculate soil volume. So this right here gives you both calculations. It tells you how many cubic yards you need, okay? How many you need to order right here. How many bags you would buy. How much the bags are going to cost, how much the bulk material is going to cost, okay? And then if you add it to your material plan down here, it's just going to tell you whichever's the better price, okay? It's telling you right here that, you're going to want to buy 9 cubic yards from the landscape supply place and have it delivered because it's going to be $341 as compared to the bag price of $843, okay? So it's a great tool to be able to compare different things, and you can do this for any material, topsoil, compost, sand. It doesn't even have to be one of these drop downs. You can do a custom material. Anyways, this was another part that I really wanted. Look, you have grass seed down here. You can do grass seed. Different, I don't know why it has night shift perennial ryegrass. I'm actually going to have that changed. That actually kind of drives me nuts because I don't care for that grass, but whatever. How much to put in, but yeah, so then you can come down here. You can also remove, okay? You can clear it. Once you put it down here, you can clear it from here. So you have an area that you can just calculate it, and then you have an area where you can put it on your list. If you don't like this one, you can try another one. You can clear this one out, and you can just, once you find one you like, you add it to your material list. You add it to your material list. Your material list is going to build up with everything, and then you save it, okay? So those are 2 really important parts that I was really trying to build when I started doing this. But then I did the fertilizer calculator. This is a great tool right here, fertilizer calculator. So this also has a place in here where you can put in your soil test results. So you can compare, and it can do a evaluation of your soil test to to tell you maybe what you need to put down, because you don't want to listen to a soil test company and put down what they tell you, because they're just trying to sell you a product. You want to kind of try to interpret these numbers, because and don't do a My Soil test, because it's the worst test you can do. My Soil test, you need to do a Malic 3 test that you can get from your local extension office, or you can get done through like a store like Wilco, or Site One has those soil test kits that are done Malic 3. You have to mail them in. But if you have to put any dirt into a cup thing with water in it, do not do that test. That's the best way to know you're doing a test that's just totally inaccurate. There's no sense to it at all. There's just nothing that backs that test up for how it comes up with its numbers. And no soil test should give you a nitrogen reading, because nitrogen is always changing, and you will never get an accurate reading of nitrogen. This is why we have to apply nitrogen so much, because nitrogen is just one of those nutrients that's always changing, always moving, always becoming different forms, all these sorts of things. So anyways, I'm creating it. It's going to be free. I really don't care about anything. I got this weed and disease area. I'm making this an educational tool, because not only, we'll just choose one real quick. Let's go for white clover. We want to kill the ones that are growing. Sure, average soil temperature, get a weed recommendation. So right here, white clover is going to tell you, best timing, treat it, how you need to treat it. It's going to give you active ingredients to use from best to least best. Even though 2,4-D will probably take care of it. It says here it can suppress young clover, but it's usually the weakest standalone option on the list. So this is going to help you understand more, but the best thing is, look at this down here. It goes best to worst products you can buy at your local home improvement store, or online, or at a landscape supply type place. But it's going to tell you what products to go out and get and buy to take care of that particular weed. We've got disease down here, same thing. What are you looking to take care of? What kind of grass? When do you water? All these sorts of things. And then possible dollar spot. It's going to tell you what to look for. It's going to give you suggested active ingredients to use on it. Look at propiconazole is third on the list. Look at azoxystrobin is last. So then down here it's going to give you, generally it first is going to give you where you can buy it in like a home improvement store, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, whatever. And then all the way on over, and this is something you're going to get at like Do My Own or whatever and have to order online. And then we got pests down here, same thing, just going to identify, and it's going to give you all these great products you can get. It's going to tell you best to worst, and then it's going to give you the products you can buy. And actually this looks like it's incomplete, but look, it's got a products page here. It takes you to a oh shoot. Of course it's not gonna, oh man. Oh, there we go. It's going to give you links to labels. It should work. Yeah, there you go. And then I have a moss control page down here. It talks about moss control. And then I've got a POA Annua page down here. It talks about POA Annua and things you can do, how you can start doing things. And this, when I started creating this part here, this is where I started getting into the whole bent grass POA program. I'm ready to start doing this kind of stuff. So look, it's a great educational tool here to help you figure out what time of year you want to do some of these treatments and things like that. It gives you a great, active ingredient description right here. So like I said, I'm really working on this app. This app started out as a watering test, basically, app just for me to use. And I've just, as I've been going on, it's been growing and growing. I don't have a lot of these pages set up yet, but there's you can turn it into an estimate and quote reports customer access. I've already started this kind of a little bit, but this is where you can build a customer instructions on how to take care of their lawn once you turn it over to them for like watering and all that kind of stuff. I actually did one, but it's also got a section for improve my lawn, just some basic educational tools. It's got a learning center. I had this built on my other version. I haven't crossed everything over because I've really been concentrating on just a couple of different pages and stuff like that. But I really am working. This is where I've been gearing a lot of my time, and why I haven't been doing videos, and why I haven't been really, I'm probably not going to be doing lives as much. I really want to get this thing going because I want this tool to be available to people next year. I want it to be available to lawn care professionals, sprinkler companies, yard maintenance companies, guys that do quotes and do renovations and all that kind of stuff. This is going to be a great tool. I wish I had built this before I started doing some renovations, because this is just a great tool. I'm going to use it for my family member's yard that I'm going to help do in September, and I've already started talking to him and teaching him about the things we need to do and we want to start doing now, because he wants to do a kill off, but everything's dormant and he's got a lot of dead stuff going in there. And I told him, I said, you need to start watering. You need to get everything back to life so we can kill it properly. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you need to get everything back to life so we can take care of this properly and do a great job. And that's why I showed him the lawns that I renovated. I showed him a lawn that I renovated 100% kill off, got rid of moss, got rid of everything. And I showed him a lawn where we didn't do a kill off. And he saw the difference immediately just by looking at the two lawns. They're only about 3 weeks apart in growth. And I also was able to show him about time of year, the differences in the time of year. The one we did later, and it was hotter, and it, took a little longer to come along, but it came along fine. Anyways, that's what I got. I'm sorry for going so long today, but like I said, I didn't do this last week. And let's see, yeah. So I got a lot of things going on. I really just want to help people. I'm not out to make money. I'm not out to make a dollar. Look, I'm spending so much time. I've spent so much money just on equipment to do lives, but a lot of it is because I just like the process. I like the setup. I like the tear down. The doing the live part is not really where or why I do lives. I do lives because I just like setting things up. I get really frustrated, like when a camera goes out and I'm like, why is the camera going out? What's going on there? I've just done a lot of things to make things work. I try to run as many cameras as I can. I've got 8 cameras going today. 2 of them crapped out on me, and actually I think a third one finally crapped out. Let's see, I don't know. So that one's gone. That one's showing video. This one here is live. That was my drone. I had to shut that one down. That one died. So this one should be working. There should be another one. What the heck? Okay, I have one buried here, right here. That's the one. So, I had 8 cameras, and I ended up with 5, I think, making it through the whole program. I could go reset one and get it working again, but I'm not going to worry about it and do it. Anyway, that's the stuff that I like about doing lives. I don't care. I just really don't even care about doing the live so much, but the part of me that likes to help people from getting ripped off and told bad information, that part of me is the part that I really do this. I was told wrong from the get-go when I started doing my lawn, and I just wanted to grow a nice yard. And I thought, hey, I'll just watch some YouTube and I'll watch a couple of guys and I'll do like I do with projects and things like that. I try to learn, how to sweat copper. I'd watch some YouTube videos and I'd sweat copper, I just do that with anything I'm doing. Maybe just watch a quick video, but I'll watch a few because I want to try to make sure that everybody's kind of giving you the same direction. And unfortunately, that's kind of how lawn care's got now, where every guy is telling you the exact same thing because this guy's repeating what that guy said and what he said, and he heard it from that guy, and that guy told him this, and that guy said that, and on and on and on and on. And you just get back to this thing to where all this lawn care stuff is garbage. You're just wasting money, you're wasting time. I feel bad. I see people out aerating their yard, you know, and I've talked about this before, and they're using one of those, you know, things that you punch in the ground with your foot. And I'm like, the fact that you can punch that thing in the ground so easily with your foot says you don't need to be doing it. That's telling you right there. Anyways, that's why I do this. I like doing things. I like helping people out. I don't care about getting paid for it. I have a job. I make money. You know, I try to teach as many neighbors that ask me. I don't go to neighbors and I don't say, hey, you want me to help you with your yard? You know, if somebody comes to me and asks me a question and want to get something done, I'm more than glad to talk to them. And I will tell them, if you start talking to me about grass, you know, you got to tell me to stop talking, because I will talk to you about grass for 3 days and not stop. So anyways, that's just me and how I'm built, and you know, how I was brought up. You help people out and you don't charge them for it. Now, I charge for doing renovations because it's a lot of work, and I buy all the materials and I pay for all the materials and I hire help and all that kind of stuff. So I don't do huge renovations for free, but I'll do a small one for free. You know, you buy all the material, I tell you what to buy, I'll help you do it. But I'm not doing a huge yard renovation, 6,000 square feet, and for free, because I can't get people to help me, and I can't do that work. I'm too old to do that work by myself. And some of these people I'm helping out doing it are older as well, and I wouldn't expect them. Like, I didn't realize my neighbor across the street, Doug, I think he said he's in his 80s. I didn't think the guy was in his mid 70s. And he told me he was like 81 or something like that. And I was like, holy mackerel, I didn't even know, Jesus criminy. And I kind of felt bad at that point, but he was out there and he wanted to help and he wanted to do the work. He's in great health and all that kind of stuff. And that's why he's healthy, because he does that kind of stuff. So anyways, sorry, done, over. I hope you got something from the video. Just trying to help people out.